After my divorce from Richard, the silence in my house was the first thing that truly hit me. We'd been married for 10 years, and though things hadn't been perfect, I never imagined it would end like it did. Sitting across from each other in a sterile lawyer's office, signing the final documents while avoiding eye contact. I had loved him once, deeply. And despite the emotional distance that had crept in over the years, I still grieved the end. I found myself wandering through my quiet home, touching the backs of chairs he used to sit in, folding laundry that no longer included his shirts. But more than anything, I missed his son, my stepson Noah. Noah had come into my life when he was just 7 years old. His mother had passed away in an accident, and Richard had full custody. I stepped into the role of mother figure gradually, carefully, never wanting to overstep, but always trying to be there in the right way. And over time, I'd grown to love Noah as if he were my own. He was 16 now, tall, thoughtful, and caught between childhood and adulthood in that uncertain teenage way. After the divorce, Richard moved to another state for work, and Noah, who was attending school in the city where we lived, asked if he could stay with me to finish the year. He didn't want to uproot his life midway through junior year. Richard, surprisingly, agreed. I suspect he felt a twinge of guilt for how things ended between us. And so, just 2 weeks after the papers were signed, Noah came to live with me again. When I opened the door and saw him standing there with a duffel bag slung over his shoulder and that familiar half-smile on his face, my heart swelled and cracked all at once. I tried to keep things light in the beginning. I cooked his favorite meals, spaghetti with extra Parmesan, grilled cheese sandwiches with tomato soup, breakfast for dinner on Friday nights. We fell into a comfortable routine, almost like old times. But I noticed something had shifted in Noah. He was quieter, more withdrawn. He spent long hours in his room or at the kitchen table with his laptop and books spread out, earphones in, head down. I told myself it was normal teenage behavior, homework, hormones, maybe even missing his dad. But something inside me sensed more. One evening, I found myself sitting on the couch, pretending to read while waiting for him to come out of his room. It was almost 10. When he finally emerged, he looked tired, dark circles under his eyes, his hair messy, like he'd been running his hands through it too much. "Noah," I said softly, "can I talk to you for a second?" He looked up, wary but polite.
"Sure."
"What's up?" I patted the couch cushion next to me. He sat down with a little sigh. "I just want to check in," I said. "I know things have been different lately. With the move, the divorce. Are you okay?" His shoulders tensed, and he nodded quickly. "Yeah, I'm good. Just school stress." I waited a beat. "You can talk to me, you know."
"About anything."
"You don't have to carry it all by yourself." His eyes flicked to mine, then away. "Thanks," he said, voice low. "I know." But he didn't say anything else. And I didn't push. Weeks passed, and the strain seemed to grow heavier on him. I noticed he wasn't eating much. Some mornings, I found him asleep on the couch, having never made it back to bed. His teachers emailed saying he'd missed a few assignments. I began to worry not just about his academics, but about his emotional health. One night, after he'd gone to sleep, I stood outside his door, hand raised to knock. I hesitated, then let it fall. Instead, I went back to the kitchen, made him a hot chocolate like I used to when he was younger, and left it outside his room with a note that said, "For when things feel heavy." The next morning, the mug was empty, and the note was gone. Still, the breakthrough didn't come until one rainy Sunday in March. I was folding laundry when I heard a thud upstairs. My heart jumped. I ran up to find Noah sitting on the bathroom floor, head between his knees, shaking. He wasn't hurt, but he was clearly in distress. "Noah." I dropped to my knees beside him. "What's wrong?"
He wouldn't look at me.
His whole body trembled. I don't know," he whispered. I feel like I can't breathe sometimes. Like it's all too much." I wrapped my arms around him, holding him as tightly as I could without crushing him. "It's okay," I said. "It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here." That was the night he finally opened up. We sat on the floor for hours, the laundry long forgotten. He told me how alone he'd felt since the divorce. How he was angry at his dad but didn't know how to say it. How he missed his mom, even though he barely remembered her. How he felt like he didn't really belong anywhere, like he was just drifting through everyone else's lives, unwanted, inconvenient. My heart shattered listening to him. I had always tried to be strong for him, to keep things stable. But in that moment, I realized I hadn't said something I should have said long ago. "Noah," I said, holding his face gently between my hands, "you belong with me. Always. I don't care what the legal papers say. I love you. You're my family." His eyes filled with tears, and he nodded, his voice cracking as he whispered, "I love you too." From that night on, things began to change. He agreed to start therapy. I met with his school counselors. I reached out to Richard and had a difficult but necessary conversation about what Noah needed, not just legally, but emotionally. And I took steps to become his legal guardian so that he would never have to question his place in my life again. The journey wasn't easy. There were days he still shut down, nights when memories overwhelmed him, and moments when I wondered if I was doing enough. But we faced it all together. Slowly, the light returned to his eyes. He started smiling more, joining me for dinner without being asked, even watching movies on the couch again like we used to. One afternoon, I came home from work to find him in the kitchen making brownies. The smell hit me before I even set down my keys. "Baking?" I asked with a raised brow. He grinned sheepishly.
Yeah.
"Thought you could use something sweet." I hugged him from behind, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a deep peace settle over me. Looking back now, I realized that letting Noah move in wasn't just about helping him, it healed something in me, too. I'd been broken by the divorce, by the loss of what I thought my life was supposed to be. But Noah reminded me that love isn't about titles or perfect timing. It's about showing up again and again, even when things fall apart. And maybe, in the end, what shattered me wasn't Noah moving in, it was the depth of love I felt for him, and the realization that even in the ruins of my old life, something beautiful could still grow.